doing a quick recipe. It is bean and cauliflower curry. It's vegan friendly and it is done in no time. So I'm just going to start here with the ingredients that I'm going to be using. We have some diced red onion. We have 1 can of diced tomatoes. And the 2 beans I'm using are cannellini beans, which are white kidney beans, and then some chickpeas. And we're going to be using 2 cans of coconut milk, some curry. You can use curry paste or the powder curry. I like the powder curry, and some garlic. So we'll get into the video and then I'll check back in with you guys when everything is done. All right, guys, so we're going to start with a medium-sized pot. Make sure it's deep enough to hold all of the sauce because I like my curry to be a bit on the saucier side. Plus, we're going to be adding tons of ingredients. So just make sure that you have a big enough pot with a tight enough lid because we do have to let it simmer for a bit. So we're just going to start with a little bit of vegetable oil. And to that, we're just going to add couple tablespoons of butter. And what we're going to do is we're going to saute the onions in here. You can certainly add peppers too if you like peppers in your curry. Green pepper, red pepper, yellow pepper, any one you want will actually work. But I like the taste of my curry with just onion. I like it to be simple. So we're going to go ahead and toss in the red onion. Stir that around a bit. And then to this, we're going to add our curry powder. So just take that, sprinkle it in. Really important. I know a lot of people sometimes skip this step, but when you're cooking with curry powder or powder in general, when you're seasoning your food, if it's like ground or not fresh, if you cook it, it gives it more flavor. It toasts it a little bit, if that makes sense, and it just makes it taste so much better. So I highly recommend just cooking it just for a few minutes. You don't have to go too crazy with it, but definitely get it in the pot before you add your other ingredients and get a nice little cook on it. All right, so our onions have been cooking for a few minutes. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and add in about 2 tablespoons of minced garlic. You can go lighter here if you want, but I love the taste of garlic. So I'm going to go a bit on the heavier side. And then we're just going to take 1 can of diced tomatoes. You can use stewed tomatoes and cut them up if you like, but make sure you drain most of the juice off. We don't want too much of that in there. We're just going to go ahead and toss these in. Give it a good stir. And one thing, I'm sorry, I didn't mention at the beginning of the video, is that we're also going to be adding in about 1 tablespoon of ginger. So just put that in there. And then you're going to let these fry up for about 3 or 4 minutes. You just want to make sure that the onions are soft, the tomatoes have started to break down a little bit, and that it really gets a chance to incorporate with that ginger and that garlic that we put in. All right, guys, so we are back. The onions, the tomatoes, the ginger, the garlic have all been hanging out in the pot, getting to know each other a bit. So now we are going to go ahead and add in our beans. So we're going to add in 1 can of cannellini beans. Make sure that you drain them before you put them in. And then 1 can of chickpeas. Give these a stir. Now, one thing I do like to do different with my curry, I know it's not traditional, so don't kill me like, oh my God, this is not how you make curry. It's just something that I enjoy. It's something that I really like the flavor of. It's just adding a half a pack of a chicken bouillon. So I just use the Goya chicken bouillon and I just use half of a pack. So I sprinkle that in, and I really just like the chicken flavor. Since we're not putting meat in here, I do like to have something that reminds me of the meat flavor. So we're just gonna mix that in. And then now is where I am gonna hit it with a bit of pepper. Go for about a tablespoon or so of pepper. And then maybe a dash of salt. Stir that up, and then we're going to stir in our remaining curry powder. I would say all together, I've used about 4 tablespoons of curry powder. So you want to let these hang out for a while, get mellow, get soft, and I would say let them go for about a minute or so before you add in your coconut juice. So we're going to let these rock out on the stove for a bit, and then I'll see you guys when it's time to start adding in our coconut. All right, guys, so we're back. I have let these beans hang out for a while. I'm going to go ahead and what we're doing is we're just adding in 2 cans of coconut milk. So pour those right on in. I love curry. It's such a comfort food, especially days like today. Today just seemed never ending. I had a ton of things on my to-do list, and I was just ripping and running all day. So I was just in the mood for something hearty and guilt-free. Like, you know, trying to stop eating meat. It is an adjustment. It's not as hard as I thought it was gonna be, but it's definitely an adjustment when you're used to having it with every meal. And now I feel like, thinking back on it in retrospect, with every meal was probably a bit excessive. So now I'm trying to cut it down to maybe once or twice a week. And honestly, I have been feeling great. I've had more energy. I have been in a better mood. So, I mean, it's been pretty good so far. So we added in our 2 cans of coconut milk. Here also, what I like to do, again, it's totally a preference thing. You guys don't have to do it. Is just take the juice of 1 lemon and just squeeze it in. And that just cuts up, because this curry is a very rich dish. You have the coconut milk in there, you have the curry powder, you have the butter in there, so it can get very rich. So the acidity from the lemon just cuts it up a bit. So I'm gonna stir that together. And then we're just gonna let this simmer on the stove for about 15 minutes or so. And we'll add the cauliflower in at the last minute, because cauliflower does go very fast. I am using frozen cauliflower here that I've just defrosted, but you can certainly use a fresh head of cauliflower if that's what you have on hand. I just happen to have frozen. And yeah, so I'll see you guys when this goodness is done brewing and we're ready to toss in our final ingredients. Alright guys, so I am back. This has been simmering for about 10 to 12 minutes. Start checking on it after 10 minutes, just so you can make sure that your beans aren't going too far. We're not looking for smushed beans here. We're just looking to have them tender. So you're going to stir that up. And now we're going to add in our cauliflower. I like to add the cauliflower at the very, very end, because cauliflower does cook fast. So we still want it to be whole. So I'm just going to add that in. And I'm just using 1 bag of frozen cauliflower here. Like I said before, feel free to use fresh head if you like. So we're going to stir that in. And as you can see, while the stew was cooking, I did alter the spices a little bit. That's why it's really important to taste your food as you're cooking. Don't just assume because you know you put salt and pepper in the beginning that it's going to taste amazing. I like to taste in the beginning, taste in the middle, and then taste in the end. So I did wind up adding a whole packet of the chicken bouillon cube. I added some salt, some pepper, and also some grated ginger in there. I will update the recipe and I'll leave a link at the bottom so you guys can see exactly how much of the things that you should be using. So my 2 last ingredients. School's in session today, ladies and gentlemen, so pay attention. It's going to sound absolutely crazy, but these 2 things are what's going to take your curry to this is good to what is that in there. Like, people are going to love it and they're not even going to know what it is. So I'm sharing my secret with you. Feel free to pass it along if you like. If you're like me, I mean, I struggled today whether or not to tell you guys about my secret. I was like, do I really want to put it out there? But I will. So honey and cinnamon, trust me, it's going to taste amazing. People are going to eat it and be like, what is that? So we're just going to take some honey, and you don't have to do a lot. Just do 1 circle around the pot and use some good honey here. I know Okay, maybe I did about 2 drizzles around the pot. And good honey. It has so much of a different flavor than, I know it's probably tempting to get the I think it's the clover honey and things like that, but real honey just has a taste that you can't match and it cannot be beat. So don't skimp here. If you don't have real honey, then I just recommend not putting any in at all. And then we're just going to do one very, very, very light tap of cinnamon. And that's it. And you're going to stir this together. The honey, it gives it a flavor, but mostly what it does is cuts down on the spice level here. My son is not a big fan of spice, so I love curry, and I know sometimes the curry powder that I get, the brand, it's a bit on the spicier side. So I put the honey in there initially to cut down on some of that spice, and then I texted it and I was like, this is pretty awesome. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. My bean and cauliflower curry. Look how awesome that looks. I'm going to plate this up, and I'm just going to be eating it with some brown jasmine rice and some flatbread. You can eat it just by itself if you like. You certainly don't have to add the rice or the flatbread. And also, I can share the ingredients for the flatbread with you guys. It's just 3 ingredients. So if that's something you guys are interested in making, let me know and I'll definitely make a video about it. So we're going to get this plated up and I will see you guys at the end. See ya. Alright guys, so here is the finished product. I just added some brown rice and flatbread. The flatbread I just brushed with a little bit of garlic butter, which is basically melted butter with some minced garlic. Put it on the stove for a few minutes and then brush it on your bread. You can certainly top this with any kind of herbs that you like, any ones that you have in the refrigerator, and I just like to finish mine just with a squeeze of lime juice. So there you have it, guys. This is my bean and cauliflower curry. If you guys enjoyed this recipe, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time with another tasty recipe.